Hello, guys, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 5, The Second Turning Point with Deshi Kruger.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Inked Podcast, where we discuss writing from the big picture to the nitty-gritty. As you can tell, I am not Riley Smith, and I am Egan Weinocht. I've been on one episode in the podcast in Season 1, and I am a member of the team for the Inked, and I'm hosting this episode for Miss Riley. We've been going through the different parts of plot this season, and today we are talking about the second turning point. And here with me to discuss this is Mr. Deshi Kruger. So how are you today, Deshi?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Okay. Since this is Deshi's first episode on the show, allow me to tell you a little bit about him. He's a writer in the Young Writers Workshop. He's been writing stories since 2022 and loving books way before that. He's written a few novellas, several short stories, and he's lost track of the random snippets he's done. Right now, he's currently working on a full-length novel. He's still thinking on a title. And currently, he is at over 26,000 words, which is awesome. He is also a critique group leader on the Young Writers Workshop and the leader of the creative development team on the Inked Podcast. He's also thinking about creating a blog in which he'll post snippets and articles. So that is Deshi, and now we're going to get to the questions. So are you ready, Deshi?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. Okay, before we get into them real quick, I'm going to define the second turning point here, just in case anyone's listening to this and like, what the heck are they talking about? So the second turning point, which is also called turning point 2 or plot point 2, occurs near the end of the story, typically after the climax. It typically represents a significant change or realization for the protagonist as well. Okay, and our first question, Deshi, is why is there a second turning point? What purpose does it serve?
I think it's a defining moment for the character. It's when the character looks all this way after the climax, and the climax is usually when the bad guy is killed or whatever. It's a moment where the character sort of takes a step back and the reader can take a step back and look at how far he's come. What has he done all this time? And usually, not always, but sometimes there's an item or a tool or a weapon that he takes from the villain. And this is the moment where the character sometimes will go, what do I do with this? Do I destroy it? Do I use it for good? Or do I just leave it here? Not always the best decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can remember I recently went through the Wingfeather Saga books, and for those of you who haven't read them, you should. They're really good, but I won't give anything away. But I remember the climax of the story where the bad guy was defeated was at the end of the story. People still had to deal with the aftermath and all of that. And it was a very interesting way the writer's name was Andrew Peterson did that. Okay, that leads us into our next question, Deshi, and that is, what does a second turning point look like in a story?
Usually it will start out with decision or perhaps some self-doubt where the character is asking himself, can I do this? Usually, back to the example, if it's an item or a weapon that he's claimed, he will think to himself, can I control this weapon, or do I have the power to destroy it? And then will come afterward either the realization where he realizes, no, I can't, or I can. So basically, it's the part where the main character decide. Just give me a sec.
Yep, go ahead.
It's the part where the main character basically decides what to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking of another good example here. For the people who've read the Lord of the Rings, I think the climax of the entire story would be, the ring's been destroyed, Sauron's been overthrown, all of that. Now, the characters are sort of trying to figure out what comes next. Frodo wants to go home. Like, the ring's been destroyed, Aragorn's gotten married, the king of Gondor has returned, all that, and now he says he decides he wants to go home, he wants to see Bilbo again, he wants to go back to his little house in Hobbiton. Yeah, that makes very good sense. Okay, and our next question, what does the second turning point lead to?
The second turning point would lead to the falling action, in my opinion. This character has decided what to do, and now it's time to act upon it. And I think an example for turning point, besides Lord of the Rings, would be the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. I'd say the climax would be when Aslan is killed by the witch. And what happens is he comes back. That's the climax. Now, what happens next? They don't go away to the battle to fight the witch. First, they go to the witch's home to free the stone creatures. They do that first. So I'd say the second turning point is Aslan saying, we go to the witch's home first, the girls get on his back. We're not at the action yet. We're not finishing off the witch once and for all. We're still, the reader is still wondering what happens next. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, that makes very, very good sense. And our final question, and this is something that I just thought of that I think some of our listeners might appreciate, is do you have any sort of tips for writing a second turning point?
For one thing, make sure the turning point leads to the falling action, which leads to the resolution. What I mean is, don't leave them at just the turning point. Sometimes it can work, but sometimes it's just going to make the reader mad. Like, I recall I was watching a movie just recently called Castaway, where, I won't give away any spoilers, but the story is about a man who's been on an island. He's trying to survive. He gets home, and what happens is that there's a girl that he's liked, but she's actually married now, and the ending is kind of unsatisfactory because you're hoping maybe there's some kind of happy ending, but there isn't. Like, maybe he'll get on with his life. Maybe something will happen that will inspire him to keep on going, but there really isn't. The ending is where he's standing at a crossroads looking around, and then that's it. The movie ends. There is no resolution. There's sort of a turning point where you're sort of guessing on what he's going to do next, but that's it. And then the ending. So make sure the turning point is connected to something and it's not just floating about out there.
Okay, that makes very good sense. Do you have any other tips real quick?
Let's see here. I'd say make sure it's not too long, because the second turning point can be very important because it gives the reader a chance to also look around, sort of a breather where the final battle has been won. You can see what's happening. But if you wait too long, the reader might become bored. He'll be like, okay, can we move on to how does this end? We know all this is happening, but now what's going to happen? What goes on? What happens now? Where do we go? And if you just keep on going on and on about how the character is sort of self-congratulating him, it can get a bit boring. So basically, the second turning point is kind of a breather for the reader, where he just takes a step back and see what's happened so far.
Okay, that makes very, very good sense. That is very good advice, all of you listeners, so pay attention to that. I really do agree with that. All right, that's all the time we have for now. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Second Turning Point. I've learned a lot from this. I enjoyed doing this. So thank you very much, Deshi, for coming on The Inked.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure. And thank you, too, to all of you who listened to this podcast, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.
Hi again, guys. It's Riley. I just wanted to pop back into this episode to thank you guys for being here, but also to give a little bit of an applause for our host, Mr. Egan Weinacht, and our guest, Deshi Kruger. I am very grateful that the guys were able to get this episode recorded, despite me not being available. So I just wanted to give them a shout out and let you guys know that they did fantastic and that I'm so excited for you guys to hear some more of them in the future. Okay, bye guys.